Welcome to Film, where I break down films in a way anyone can enjoy. Whether you're new to movies or a seasoned fan, you're in the right place. For this video, we will be talking about the Netflix movie Rebel Ridge and my likes and dislikes about it. Alright, let's get into it. Before we start, though, I want to give a huge shout out to Aaron Pierre, who actually got the Jon Stewart role in the new series Lanterns. If you guys don't know, it's going to be about Green Lanterns. That's a DC Comics superhero. And I'm just happy because I was pushing for this guy. Like right when I saw the trailer for Rebel Ridge, I instantly thought this guy is Jon Stewart. Like he looks the part. And even after watching this movie, I was like, yep, without a doubt, this dude is the right and perfect casting to play Jon Stewart in DC Comics coming up in the show's called Lanterns, but I'm just excited. I'm happy for him. And I just can't wait to see him be Jon Stewart, bro. I love Jon Stewart. That's my homie. Now, the first thing I thought of when I was watching the trailer for this and eventually the movie, I was thinking if you guys haven't seen the show Reacher on Amazon Prime Video, literally this whole movie is like season one of Reacher, except this is a black man doing it. This is a black Jack Reacher. Except no, I'm not gonna give that to him. This is black. This is Terry. This is Terry Richmond, bro. This guy is different. This guy, if there was a way to get Jack Reacher and Terry Richmond in the same movie or same TV show, a little crossover, I would love to see it because this movie was just incredible and it had the same vibes as Reacher, and I loved it. One of my first dislikes I kind of want to point on because it kind of did annoy me. I don't think maybe it was because he didn't know how like corrupt the police were in this town he was going to. But why in the heck were you riding your bicycle in the middle of the road? I'm gonna just be for real. Why were you in the middle of the road blasting music, riding a bicycle? You like me? Maybe I'm just a cautious person, but I'm always thinking, no matter what, if it's an open road or anything, even if I'm in the desert. Well, actually, no, in the desert, I can drive wherever I want. I can ride wherever I want. But there's got to be a car somewhere. There's got to be a car in back of me coming towards me. I'm riding on the right or left side of the road. It's just my sense into it. But yeah, that was one of my problems at the beginning of the movie. I'm like, bro, you were in the middle of the road. You should have been at the right or the left. Let's be for real. But yeah, that's one of my dislikes. That was a big thing in the movie because it kind of sparked all this thing. So pretty much this at the start of the movie, Terry, this is Aaron Pierre's character's name. He's riding into this town to try to bail his cousin out of jail because I don't know what he did. It was like a minimal charge, but he was a part of a case that had him be not a whistleblower but a snitch. And if he were to be transferred out of jail, out of that little jail into a bigger prison, people would have killed him. So his job was to try to get down to that town, bail him out, and then they were just going to drive and go somewhere. That's literally it. If he got there and gave him the money, they would have been fine. But then this cop, and obviously, yeah, he's riding in the middle of the road. Yeah, you got some cause to like talk to him. But the way they did it, he just hit him. The cop just hit him and then just proceeded to give him all this BS saying like, oh, you were like evading arrest, doing this, doing that. Obviously the biker, if I'm a cop and I see a biker just driving in the middle of the lane and I'm flashing my lights, making noise, doing this, obviously he's probably distracted. Like maybe, just maybe, try to go on the side of him and motion to him, talk to him, do this, do that. But hitting his bike and hurting him like that, that's not the way to do it, in my opinion. I didn't like that. But anyways, he goes on. He detains him. He's talking to him, asking him all these questions. Then all of a sudden, another police car pulls up, and you can already tell these cops are bad. These cops are bad news. Like they are bad news bears. So they're asking him all these questions. Eventually they learn that he was part of the military, so they give him a little bit, and I mean the smallest little bit of respect, and you're like, okay, all right, that's a little bit of something. But then they ask him if they can check his bag. He's a little hesitant on it, but then he realizes that he's in a hurry to try to bail out his cousin. So he says, okay, fine, you could check my bag. So they go into his bag. They find this plastic bag wrapped takeout box with money in it. And it's a lot of money. I forgot what it was, like $26,000 or something. But he starts talking to them and they're just like, where'd you get all this money? And they start thinking that he's a drug dealer or something. And he already tells them he's trying to take that money over to bail his cousin out. And they're just not believing him. So they find a way to stash the money in a legal way or something, which obviously it was illegal, but they found a way to talk like it was legal. And they just take his money, leave him with his bike, and yeah, this is where the issues start. I love the way the camera like moves to him right when he knows that they're going to not give him his money. Like it kind of gave this little sound where you could tell he was annoyed and you could just feel that. You could just feel the annoyance in him. And I'm like, bro, I understand, but don't do nothing. They're cops. Please don't. And I was impressed with his composure. He was just like, yeah, I understand. And he hustles over to the courthouse and tries to figure out a way to like get the money in time for this. But it was just a whole situation, bro. And I understood why he was so angry. You guys just gotta watch it. I was like, wow. Like he's a member of the military and you're treating him like this over some money? That's crazy. And I just want to say that's just good writing. Like it's not a point off from the movie. It's just good like the way the story's going because you can understand like why he eventually turns into stinking what's his name? Stinking Jack Reacher. Or Terry Richmond. I'm gonna put the respect on his name. That's Terry Richmond. So after this whole instance happens, he talks to this one person who actually is willing to help him with his situation. And she's basically telling him it's impossible to do this, do that. And you're thinking, what is he going to do now? This guy goes to the police station where these cops are and he tries to report a crime. And that was probably the coolest intimidation scene I've ever seen. He just walks into the police department. He just goes straight to the desk. He's like, I'd like to report a crime. And right in front of these corrupt officers, he's just saying like what happened with the situation and how they took his money. And then he tries to make a deal with them. He says, I just want my $10,000 to bail out my cousin. You all can keep the rest. And I'm thinking, okay, that's simple. Like 16,000 or how much ever. I think it was 30,000 or 26,000. Anyways, it was more money than he was going to keep. So I'm like, okay, they'll probably take the deal. No. Oh man. I feel like this was literally just like a one-upping contest because they just think this guy is just a built dude who can't do nothing. So they're like, okay, we'll let you see him tomorrow. And so they make the deal, or he thinks they make the deal. He goes over the next day. They promise him that he can see his cousin at this certain time. Right when he gets there, they just say, oh, we went up ahead a little bit on schedule. And he's like, what? You said I could see my cousin? He's like, all right. The craziest thing was you thought that we had a deal. And I was like, whoa, that's messed up, bro. That's actually messed up. And so when he's about to interrupt them, the chief of the police or the head dude says, allow me to finish. And I was like, oh, shoot. Now you done it. You done did it. You done messed up, Aaron. And let me remind you, this guy Terry's been super calm, trying to be as cordial as possible. And at that point, I was like, okay, it's go time. This is when it's about to get juicy. So you're thinking he's going to go all Rambo on the police station. No. He goes back to the police station, throws his bike, and he's just standing outside with his hands behind his back. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Here we go. So the chief of police goes outside, is talking to him, and he asks them to do some research on him. And they pull up his file. It says he hasn't really been deployed, but he's been in, I believe, Iraq, but he wasn't really in like fights or anything. And so they're researching what he actually has to do. And he's having this whole intimidation, Like he's intimidating the heck out of the chief of police, and they eventually learn what his job was. And while he's talking, he's explaining this acronym he has called PACE. And I'm like, oh shoot, this is insane. And he's like, this is the type of system we have in the military when we're trying to de-escalate situations or just infiltrate. And so he's talking about, I forgot how it went, but he just says, he's like, he's saying what P means, he's saying what A means, he's saying what C means. And he's like, we're almost past E. And I'm at the point, and then the chief of police, interrupts him a little bit, and he just goes with a stern, like, deep voice, allow me to finish. And I was like, oh no, he's locking in now. He's locking in. So inside the police station, they eventually learn that he is a martial arts expert. And right when he comes outside, the cop says, hey, chief, you got to put some distance on you real quick. And as he's backing up, Terry's following him, almost matching his body movement. And the chief of police pulls out a gun. He just grabs it straight up in front of him. He's like, no, let's not do that. And then he disarms him in the coolest way or the coolest and calmest way I've ever seen. Takes his gun, brings him into the police station, and then takes everybody, like, he just disarmed them in the calmest way possible. And then he goes over, takes his money, leaves the money he promised them. And that's respect on my part. I would have just taken my money and left. But he leaves $16,000. He's like, a deal's a deal. And goes to the courthouse, tries to bail out his cousin as fast as possible. And then eventually he gets arrested by the cops and tased right there. You know how they are. But I was just so shook that he was able to do that with the most calmest, like, well, calm in a way where it's like, he had control. Because, yeah, you could tell he was angry, but he kept his composure, and that was cool. Throughout the rest of the movie, it's just literally Terry versus this whole police station regiment or whatever, this whole squad of police that work in this department. And it's just crazy because one of the coolest things I thought throughout the movie is he did not kill one person. He just disarmed everybody. Yeah, he violently hurt him in a way, but not one person was killed. There was this one scene that made me realize that, because throughout the whole movie, he's beating them up, disarming them. Like, they really, like, you could tell these guys were not built to handle this guy. Like, every time he saw the certain cop, he would just beat him up, throw him around, tie him up, and just his composure was just insane. So then towards the final scene where, like, he's in this huge fight and he's trying to, like, this is toward, like, the final scene, all these guys start shooting at him at the police station. He goes behind the car. This one guy with a shotgun comes over. He disarms him. Instead of using that shotgun, because I really thought he was just going to go ham and start using the shotgun like John Wick and stick in John Wick 4. Instead, he unloads the shotgun all the way. And then I think he throws it away or uses it to, like, hit this guy. And then he disarms him. It was just a whole lesson on disarming people. And then he's just going in. And eventually he escapes because the whole goal was he was trying to get a live video recording of what these corrupt cops were doing. And so he escapes in the car. He's taking 2 wounded people to the hospital. And then eventually he makes it out. But it was just so tactical and cool the way he was doing this. I was so impressed. Like, if you guys watch this movie, I'm telling you, you're going to be like, how the heck did he learn all of this? Like, the way he's fighting these people, disarming them, and not killing a single person. I'm like, bro, this is different. Because you can tell he could definitely kill somebody, but the fact that he isn't, that's a whole different type of self-control. That's a whole different type of just composure. I was in awe. Like, every single time I'd see a scene where it was eventually a fight scene, I'd sit up in my seat and I'm like, okay, what is he going to do next? But I love these type of movies. I love them. Like, you just can't guess his next move. And he was really smart too. Like, he wasn't just like a Rambo going in guns a-blazing. He always had a plan. Always. Anytime. And the way he talked about certain things, I was like, okay, he's not being a dummy when it comes to this. He's thinking through it. And it was just cool to see that throughout the movie. One of the other things I liked though was that it wasn't just him who was smart. The corrupt cops were smart too. I'm gonna give it to them. They thought through a lot of things too, and they were making his job hard as well. But I just loved how both you have the villain and then the protagonist, and they're just playing chess with each other. This isn't just like a obviously the protagonist is smart and he's dealing with goons. It was like a it was like a whole it was like a whole game of chess over and over again, like a professional game of chess. And I just like that because you don't know how many movies I've seen where the villains are just stupid, like they literally can't pinpoint or they have 0% chance of guessing what the protagonist is going to do next. They're just watching it and they're like, what's going to happen next? These guys were on top of it. And I know I hated these guys. I'm being for real. I hated them, but they were smart, really, really smart. One of the scenes I want to point out, and I just hate how this was in it, but it was just really cool. The scene where, because they made a deal again, they made a second deal, and the deal was for Terry to get out of town, and if he stays out of town, the situation's over. He can have his money, have his car, yada yada yada. It's over. So obviously something happened where Terry had to come back to the town, and he came back, and obviously he was leaving again, but it was a wrong place at the wrong time. One of the cops sees him. They stop him. And this is when I was like, okay, this guy's smart. So he obviously is telling him pull over, but then while he's telling him pull over, he's calling for backup. Now, usually in other movies, he'll just be like, oh, guns are blazing. Like, he's like, that's the guy. But this guy said, pull over. And he's like talking on the walkie-talkie with his buddies. He's like, all right, I got the guy here. I need one squad car up ahead and one squad car in back of me. And they're talking about, does anybody have any ARs? And he's like, yeah. So he stops the car. Terry stops the car. And he instantly notices that one squad car pulls up in front of him. Another squad car pulls up far behind them, but still in the area where he's blocked off. So this guy goes up, he's talking to him. He's basically saying, like, we had a deal. Like, why the heck did you come back? And he's telling him just a situation arose. I'm leaving now. And he's like, nah, you just came back in. So now it's open season. And then Brody throws a gun in the truck and yells, gun, gun. And he starts shooting at him. Obviously, he gets hit by a couple of bullets. But then once again, Terry disarms this guy and tases him right then and there. And he's able to get out of there because the cops started running over because they were trying to help him. They start shooting at him, but he was already just dipping in the truck. And I'm like, bro, this guy, like the way he's trained, I need to see a sequel on this movie. I need to see an origin story on how he developed these fighting skills. I need a whole trilogy. Like this, it's that cool. Like it's insane. Now, one of the things that I know when I was talking to people and also reading a couple articles was the ending did annoy people. And it was only because like it ended kind of abruptly. Like to me, I honestly could tell what was going on because I mean, they get to the hospital and it's pretty much the hospital is treated as a safe zone for Terry and the wounded people that he was carrying in. But he takes out the recording device that was in the squad car and he holds onto it in the hospital. And then that's when the movie ends. And I'm thinking, okay, like he kind of caught them. Like that's what I was thinking. I was like, there's nothing else they can do. Like as long as he's in that hospital and that thing gets uploaded in like, what, I think 10 or 15 minutes, it's over. Like they can't just go with guns a-blazing in the hospital. Like it's a hospital. So I know that some people were like, oh, well, we didn't get to see what happened to the cops. We didn't get to see like what actually happened at the end. But I'm like, I mean, it's kind of said for like you can see like throughout the movie, in my opinion, that these cops and Terry were smart people. So in my mind, right when that scene played out where he gets to the hospital, you're pretty much like, especially when the chief, he gets caught for what he's doing, kind of like he gets arrested. You're already seeing that these cops and Terry already know it's over because throughout the whole movie, that I feel like this movie was promoting like realism, like in a way, like what really can happen in situations when it comes to this point. So I think they already knew it was over, and Terry knew it was over, so there was no need to go further than that. I don't know. That was in my eyes because I like the ending, but I know how people couldn't like it. Now, if I had to give this movie a rating from 1 to 10, I honestly would give it an 8 because I feel like the fight scenes and the way things went on an IQ level between the cops and Terry, I just really loved it. I would love to see this again. Like I said earlier, I would love to get a sequel on this. And I would love to even also see a crossover between Jack Reacher and this, or Reacher and Terry. But I don't know. I really like this movie. It was really cool. But I would love to hear what you all thought. Did you love this ending or did you hate it? Did you feel like it needed more? Did you hate the fight scenes? Did you love the fight scenes? Let me know down below. But anyways, I'm your man Film. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow for some more reviews in the future. And I'm going to catch y'all later.